The great hall of Sigma-9 glittered with the soft blue light of 1,000 floating orbs, casting an ethereal glow across the assembled dignitaries of the Galactic Confederation. Representatives from over 300 planetary systems sat in concentric rings around a central dais, their diverse anatomies accommodated by specialized seating arrangements. Some floated in anti-gravity chambers filled with their native atmospheres, while others extended tentacles or sensory appendages from containment suits designed to maintain their unique biological requirements. High Consul Varuk, an imposing figure with iridescent scales that shifted color with his emotions, stood at the podium. His current deep purple hue indicated the solemnity of the occasion. The annual Confederation Summit was the most prestigious gathering in known space, an honor reserved exclusively for those who had received the coveted quantum invitations, impossible to forge and encoded with the recipient's unique atomic signature. Distinguished delegates of the 43rd Confederation Summit. Varruk's voice resonated through the translator fields, automatically adjusting to each species' auditory capabilities. We gather once again in the spirit of cooperation that has maintained peace across our sectors for 12 millennia. A murmur of approval rippled through the assembly as representatives acknowledged one another with their species' respective gestures of greeting. The Arcanians pulsed their bioluminescent crests, while the silicon-based Lithorians ground their crystalline appendages together in a harmonious chime. Varruk continued. Before we address the primary agenda, let us honor the newest additions to our Confederation, the Nephalians of the Cygnus Quadrant, whose technological achievements in quantum computing have earned them recognition among the stars. A delegation of tall, willowy beings with reflective skin rose from their seats, their bodies seemingly composed of mercury that maintained a humanoid shape through some invisible force. They bowed in unison, earning a round of applause from the assembly. Just as Varruk raised his hand to proceed with the formal introductions, a deafening crash echoed through the chamber. The ceiling above the central dais cracked, and debris rained down as something large and metallic burst through the ornate dome. Chaos erupted. Security drones swarmed toward the intrusion, while delegates scattered, some activating personal shields, while others retreated to emergency transport zones. The object that had so rudely interrupted the proceedings settled in the center of the room, smoke billowing from its thrusters. It was a spacecraft, crude by Confederation standards, with visible welding marks and unrefined edges. Emblazoned on its side was an unmistakable symbol, a circle of stars surrounding a blue and green sphere. Earth. Varruk's scales flashed a dangerous red as the ship's hatch opened with a hiss of decompressing air. A figure emerged, stepping confidently onto the debris-strewn floor. She was human, dressed in a navy blue uniform with silver piping and insignia denoting her rank. Her dark hair was pulled back in a practical bun, and her expression was unapologetic as she surveyed the chaos around her. "I am Commander Maya Lin of the Earth Alliance," she announced, her voice carrying without assistance. "And yes, I'm well aware we haven't received an invitation." Again, security drones surrounded her instantly, energy containment fields at the ready. Varruk stepped forward, his voice barely containing his fury. "This is an outrage. How dare you violate sacred Confederation space? This gathering is by invitation only, a principle Earth has been informed of repeatedly." Maya brushed dust from her shoulder, unperturbed by the weapons trained on her. "And yet, here we are. You see, High Consul, we've noticed a pattern. Whenever the universe faces a crisis, the Confederation holds an emergency session. Curiously, Earth never receives an invitation to these critical meetings, despite often being affected by the outcomes." "There are protocols," Varruk began. "Yes, protocols that conveniently exclude us," Maya interrupted. "But we've detected unusual energy signatures across 3 sectors in the past lunar cycle. Signatures consistent with a biological threat. So, Invitation or not, we're here. A slender figure moved forward from the Viridian delegation, Ambassador Thalex, whose reptilian features were accentuated by a ceremonial headdress of precious metals. "The human speaks of matters not yet brought before the General Assembly," he said, his forked tongue flicking in agitation. "How does Earth possess such information?" Maya smiled. "Because we pay attention. While your Confederation focuses on maintaining hierarchies and invitation protocols, humans have been quietly building monitoring stations throughout unregulated space. We notice things." Varroc's scales now pulsed between red and black, anger mixed with concern. He conferred briefly with several officials before addressing Maya again. "Commander Lin, your presence is irregular and unwelcome. However, as you have already disrupted proceedings, you may state your purpose briefly before being escorted from Confederation space." Maya nodded and tapped a device on her wrist. A holographic display materialized in the center of the hall, showing a star map with several systems highlighted in alarming red. "This is what we've detected. A biological agent spreading through trade routes in the Orion Spur. It's subtle at first. Respiratory difficulties in oxygen breathers, crystallization in silicon-based life forms, metabolic shutdown in energy beings. By the time symptoms are obvious, it's already established and spreading." The hall fell silent as delegates studied the projection. A murmur began to rise as representatives recognized their home systems among those marked. "That's impossible," said a delegate from Proxima Centauri, a being composed of pure energy contained within a specialized field. "Our quarantine protocols are impenetrable." "Evidently not," Maya replied. "We've analyzed the spread pattern. This isn't a natural pathogen. It's engineered to bypass standard detection, and it's adaptive." Varroc's scales had settled into a deep, troubled blue. "If what you say is true, this should be addressed by the Confederation Health Authority through proper channels. Your dramatic entrance was unnecessary and dangerous." "Was it?" Maya raised an eyebrow. "Because according to our intelligence, cases have already been reported on 17 worlds, yet no alert has been issued by your health authority." The accusation hung in the air like a physical presence. Delegates turned to Varroc expectantly. After a long pause, he spoke carefully. "There have been isolated incidents. Nothing conclusive to warrant a general alert. We avoid creating unnecessary panic." "While you avoid creating panic, people are dying," Maya countered. "Earth has already begun developing countermeasures. We have a team led by our foremost xenobiologist, Dr. Rami Patel. He believes we can create a universal vaccine, but we need cooperation and access to affected populations." Varroc's laugh was brittle. "And now we arrive at the true purpose of your visit. Earth wishes to use a crisis, possibly exaggerated, to gain access to Confederation medical technology and biological data." Maya's expression hardened. "If you believe that, you understand nothing about humanity. We're offering help because that's what we do. History has taught us that isolationism in the face of pandemic leads to catastrophe." "The High Consul raises a valid concern," interjected a gravelly voice from the Arcturus delegation. "Earth's medical protocols have not been certified by Confederation standards. Any treatment they propose would require years of testing before approval." "Years we don't have," Maya said firmly. "The infection rate suggests full saturation across major population centers within 50 solar cycles. By then, it will be too late for many worlds." The debate continued for hours, with Maya standing her ground against increasingly hostile questioning. Some delegates showed interest in Earth's proposal, while others remained deeply suspicious of human motives. Throughout it all, Maya maintained her composure, presenting data and responding to challenges with a calm authority that gradually won respect, if not agreement. As the session adjourned for delegates to consult with their governments, Varroc approached Maya privately. "Commander, Your methods are unorthodox and unwelcome, but I cannot dismiss your concerns entirely. The Confederation will investigate these claims thoroughly. Maya nodded. Investigation is good. Action would be better. Our ship contains preliminary samples of the pathogen isolated from trade vessels near Jupiter's moons. Dr. Patel is prepared to share his findings with your scientists. Varick's scales flickered with reluctant admiration. You came prepared. Earth always does, Maya replied, invitation or not. As Maya was escorted to temporary quarters, luxurious but clearly monitored, she activated her secure communicator. Status report, Dr. Patel. The hologram of a middle-aged man with kind eyes and a perpetual look of distraction appeared. He pushed up glasses that had slid down his nose and smiled. Maya, or should I say, Commander, how was your grand entrance? She couldn't help but return his smile. About as well received as we expected. Did you make progress while I was playing diplomat? Rami's expression turned serious. Yes and no. I've isolated the pathogen's core structure. It's unlike anything I've seen before. Almost as if it was designed to target specific biochemical markers common across otherwise diverse species. Engineered, then, as we suspected? Almost certainly. The question is, by whom? And why target such a wide range of species simultaneously? Rami ran a hand through his already disheveled hair. I need more data. Specifically, infection patterns in non-carbon-based life forms. If I can identify the common vulnerability, I might be able to develop a broad-spectrum countermeasure. The Confederation is investigating, Maya said, her tone making clear what she thought of their pace. But I don't think we can count on official cooperation anytime soon. Then we'll need to be creative, Rami replied. The samples we collected are helpful, but insufficient. I need live tissue from infected individuals at various stages. Maya's expression darkened. That won't be easy without Confederation approval. They're already suspicious of our motives. When has that ever stopped us? Rami grinned. Remember that outbreak on Mars Colony? The one the corporate authority tried to cover up? How could I forget? You snuck into a quarantine zone dressed as maintenance staff. And developed a vaccine in 3 days. He finished proudly. We'll find a way, Maya. We always do. Their conversation was interrupted by a soft chime, indicating someone at her door. Maya deactivated the hologram quickly. Enter! The door slid open to reveal Ambassador Thalex, the Viridian representative who had spoken during the assembly. He glanced nervously down the corridor before stepping inside, allowing the door to close behind him. Commander Lin, I apologize for the intrusion, but I believe we have mutual interests. Maya gestured to a seating area designed to accommodate various physiologies. Please, make yourself comfortable, Ambassador. Thalex settled into a chair, his long tail curling around one leg. I must be direct. 3 days ago, my aide began showing symptoms matching your description of this pathogen. Our medical team is baffled. They've never seen anything like it. The progression is alarming. Maya leaned forward. And you're telling me this because? Because the Confederation Health Authority has classified all such cases as undetermined illness, pending investigation. They refuse to acknowledge a pattern, despite mounting evidence. His scaled hands clasped together tightly. My people cannot wait for bureaucracy to acknowledge what is plainly happening. If Earth has potential treatments, I am willing to facilitate unofficial cooperation. Maya studied him carefully. That's a significant risk to your position, Ambassador. My position means nothing if my people die while I observe protocols. He met her gaze steadily. I can arrange transport for your Dr. Patel to Viridian medical facilities, away from Confederation oversight. In return, any treatments developed would be shared with us first. A reasonable arrangement, Maya nodded. But why trust humans? Your people have had limited contact with Earth? Thalex's lipless mouth curved slightly. Not officially, perhaps, but there is an Earth outpost near our outer colonies. Your people have been trading with ours for some time, quietly, without Confederation sanction. We have found humans to be straightforward in their dealings, if somewhat enthusiastic. Maya smiled at the diplomatic phrasing. Earth's unofficial policy of establishing relationships, regardless of Confederation approval, was an open secret among border worlds. I'll need to consult with my team, but I believe we can work together. Ambassador, one condition, though. Any treatment we develop will be shared with all affected worlds, not just Viridian. Of course, he agreed readily. We seek survival, not advantage. When can your team be ready? Immediately, Maya replied. In fact, if you can secure transit clearance, Dr. Patel could depart within hours. He's currently aboard our research vessel in orbit. Thalex rose. I will make arrangements. Expect contact through secure channels within one planetary rotation. He paused at the door. Commander Lin, regardless of how this situation resolves, remember that not all within the Confederation share Varric's view of Earth. Some of us see potential in your species' unconventional approaches. After he left, Maya reactivated her communicator. Rami, pack your equipment. I've found you a laboratory and patience. The days that followed saw a flurry of clandestine activity. While Maya continued to press for official Confederation recognition of the crisis during formal sessions, Rami and a small team of Earth scientists were secretly transported to Viridian. There, they worked tirelessly alongside local medical experts, studying the pathogen and testing potential treatments. Reports from across the galaxy grew increasingly dire. The disease, now dubbed stellar necrosis by affected worlds, had begun appearing in major population centers. Quarantine measures proved ineffective, as the pathogen seemed capable of remaining dormant for extended periods before activation. In a private chamber adjoining the main Confederation Assembly Hall, Varric received a concerning report from the Health Authority. High Consul, we can no longer contain information about the outbreak. 17 member worlds have now officially reported cases, with unofficial reports from at least 20 more. Public panic is increasing. Varric's scales had taken on a dull gray, the color of deep worry. What containment measures have been implemented? Standard protocols, sir, but they're proving inadequate. This pathogen behaves unlike anything in our records. It adapts to countermeasures and seems specifically designed to target a variety of biological systems. And our research teams? The health official hesitated. They're making progress, sir, but not quickly enough. Current projections suggest we're at least 6 months from a viable treatment, by which time the unfinished sentence hung in the air between them. By which time casualties will be in the billions, Varric finished grimly. What about the Earth proposal? Have we investigated their claims of developing a treatment? We've requested details of their research, but Commander Lin insists on full cooperation, rather than simply handing over their work for our evaluation. It's an unacceptable demand that violates our medical protocols. Varric stared out at the stars, visible through the panoramic window. Is protocol worth more than lives? Director. Perhaps in this instance, flexibility. Sir, with respect, accepting untested treatments from a non-member world would set a dangerous precedent. The Confederation's authority is built on adherence to established standards. Authority means little to the dead, Varric murmured, but he nodded in reluctant agreement. Continue pressing for their research data without compromising our position. In the meantime, expand quarantine zones and increase production of supportive care technologies. As official channels stalled, the situation on Viridian grew critical. The infection had spread rapidly through major cities, overwhelming medical facilities. Dr. Patel and his team worked around the clock, their laboratory becoming a fortress of science against encroaching despair. We're close, Rami insisted, during a secure communication with Maya. His holographic image showed a man pushed to his physical limits, eyes red-rimmed from lack of sleep, hair wild, lab coat stained with various substances. "Define close," Maya pressed. "The Confederation is finally acknowledging the crisis, but they're still refusing to consider our help unless we submit to their evaluation process." "Bureaucracy at its finest," Rami snorted. "We've identified the mechanism now. It's brilliant, in a terrifying way. The pathogen doesn't attack cells directly. It reprograms them to produce toxic compounds unique to each species' biology. It's why detection was so difficult. Each population presents with apparently different symptoms." "And the treatment?" "A nanobiotic delivery system carrying a genetic override. It interrupts the reprogramming signal and triggers the body's natural defensive responses." He rubbed his eyes wearily. "We've had promising results in tissue cultures from 6 different species. We're beginning live trials tomorrow." "Time frame?" "If the trials show the results I expect, 2 weeks to limited production, maybe a month to scale up for major distribution." His expression darkened. "But Maya, that's too long for many already infected. The late-stage progression it's not good." Maya's jaw tightened. "Keep working. I'll handle the Confederation." The next day, as Maya prepared to attend another frustrating session of the Confederation Assembly, an urgent message arrived from Viridian. Ambassador Thalex's aide had succumbed to the disease, along with hundreds of others. The ambassador himself was now showing symptoms. Maya made a decision. Protocol be damned. She entered the assembly hall as Varric was delivering a carefully worded statement about enhanced quarantine measures. Without waiting to be recognized, she strode directly to the central dais. "Honored delegates," she called out, her voice cutting through the formal proceedings. "While we debate and discuss, people are dying. Not abstract numbers on reports. Real people with families and futures." Varric's scales flashed angry red. "Commander Lin, you are out of order! Security! Remove her immediately!" Maya stood her ground as security drones approached. "Earth has developed a treatment, not a theoretical solution, an actual nanobiotic therapy that has shown effectiveness in laboratory settings. We are prepared to begin clinical trials immediately." Murmurs spread through the assembly like wildfire. "Any such treatment would require proper evaluation through Confederation protocols," Varric insisted, though with less conviction than before. "Which would take months," Maya countered. "Months that the infected don't have. I'm not asking for permission to deploy this treatment galaxy-wide. I'm asking for your cooperation in conducting supervised trials on volunteer patients already in critical condition." A representative from Deneb stood, their crystalline form catching the light. "My world has lost thousands already. If Earth offers help, I would hear them." Others joined in, their voices creating a cacophony of support and skepticism. Varric struggled to maintain order as the carefully structured meeting dissolved into passionate debate. In the midst of the chaos, a commotion at the entrance drew attention. Ambassador Thalex staggered into the hall, visibly ill. His normally vibrant scales had dulled to a sickly gray, and his movements were unsteady. "I speak as both representative and victim," he announced, his voice raspy. "The disease has taken hold in my system. Our finest physicians give me days, perhaps hours. I volunteer for the Earth treatment." The hall fell silent. Maya moved to support the ambassador as he swayed on his feet. "This is the reality we face, not policies or protocols, but people suffering while help is within reach." Varric's scales had shifted to a troubled blue-green. After a long moment, he spoke. "The Confederation cannot officially sanction an untested treatment." He raised a hand as protests began. "However, as High Consul, I can authorize emergency research dispensation for voluntary trials under strict observation." It wasn't full approval, but it was enough. Within hours, Maya had arranged for Rami and his team to transfer to a Confederation medical facility, bringing their experimental treatment with them. Ambassador Thalex became the first official recipient, his condition closely monitored by physicians from multiple worlds. The days that followed were tense. Rami worked to refine the treatment as data came in from the first volunteers, making adjustments to improve efficacy across different physiologies. Maya divided her time between the medical facility and the Confederation Assembly, providing updates and gradually building trust among the delegates. On the seventh day, Ambassador Thalex's condition showed marked improvement. His vital signs stabilized, and the progression of symptoms halted. By the 10th day, he was able to attend a session of the Assembly, weak but visibly recovering. "I stand before you as living testimony," he told the gathered representatives. "The Earth treatment works. I have seen others in the trial facility recovering as well, beings of diverse biologies who had been given no hope." The evidence was compelling. With reluctance but growing urgency, Varric authorized expanded trials across multiple worlds. Production facilities were established to manufacture the nanobiotic treatment according to Dr. Patel's specifications, with Confederation scientists working alongside the Earth team. As the crisis began to turn, Maya found herself summoned to a private meeting with Varric. The High Consul's quarters were austere, reflecting his position's ancient traditions. He stood at a viewing portal, watching distant ships arrive and depart from the Sigma-9 station. "Commander Lin," he greeted her without turning. "It seems your persistence has paid dividends. The treatment efficacy data is impressive." "Thank you, High Consul. Dr. Patel and his team deserve the credit." "Indeed." Varric finally faced her, his scales a contemplative purple. "I find myself curious about something, Commander. Earth has possessed spacefaring capability for less than 3 centuries, a mere moment in galactic terms. Yet, in that brief time, you've managed to establish unofficial relations with dozens of worlds, build monitoring stations throughout unregulated space, and develop medical technology that rivals our most advanced research." Maya remained silent, sensing there was more to come. All this, without Confederation membership or the benefits it brings. It makes one wonder why Earth continues to pursue inclusion in our alliance at all. She considered her response carefully. "Earth doesn't seek inclusion for technological advantage. High Consul, we seek it because we believe in the fundamental principle of your Confederation, that diverse civilizations can achieve more together than apart." "A noble sentiment," Varric acknowledged. "Yet your actions often circumvent the very structures that maintain our cooperation. With respect, those structures sometimes prevent the cooperation they're meant to facilitate. When protocol becomes more important than purpose, something is wrong with the protocol." Varric's scales shifted to a color Maya hadn't seen before, a deep, thoughtful indigo. "A perspective worth consideration. Perhaps there is something to be learned from Earth's unconventional approaches." The conversation marked a turning point, as the treatment was distributed galaxy-wide and the pandemic began to recede. Earth's standing among Confederation worlds rose dramatically. Dr. Patel became a celebrated figure, invited to present his research at the most prestigious scientific institutions. The Earth medical team worked tirelessly, traveling to affected worlds to train local physicians in administering the treatment. 3 months after Maya's dramatic arrival at the summit, the crisis was officially declared contained. A special session of the Confederation Assembly was convened to address the aftermath and implement preventative measures against future outbreaks. Maya attended, this time with a proper invitation, a quantum card that shimmered with her unique atomic signature. She was given a seat of honor near the central dais, alongside representatives from worlds that had contributed significantly to managing the crisis. High Consul Varric called the session to order, his scales now a serene blue that indicated satisfaction. "Distinguished delegates, we gather today to recognize the conclusion of a threat that tested our collective resolve. Through cooperation across boundaries, We have prevailed against a pathogen engineered to divide us." He paused, letting his gaze sweep the assembly before settling on Maya. "It is now confirmed that the disease was artificially created, a biological weapon designed by separatist elements, hoping to destabilize the Confederation. Their plan might have succeeded, had it not been for intervention from an unexpected quarter." Varrock gestured toward Maya. "Commander Lin and the Earth Alliance demonstrated that true cooperation transcends formal structures. While we maintain that protocols serve a vital purpose in our ordered society, we acknowledge that innovation often emerges from those willing to challenge established paradigms." A murmur of agreement rippled through the assembly. "Therefore, by unanimous decision of the Confederation Council, Earth is hereby granted observer status with expedited consideration for full membership." Varrock extended a ceremonial scepter toward Maya. "Commander Lin, would you approach to receive the emblem of recognition?" Maya rose, feeling the weight of the moment as hundreds of eyes, and various sensory organs, followed her progress to the dais. She accepted the emblem, a crystalline pin that attached to her uniform collar and glowed with an inner light. "High Consul, distinguished delegates," she began. "Earth accepts this honor with appreciation and humility. We have long believed that our place is among the stars, working alongside other civilizations toward common goals." She glanced around the assembly, making eye contact with representatives she had come to know during the crisis. "But I would be remiss not to acknowledge a fundamental truth about humanity. We are, by nature, disruptors. We question, we challenge. We refuse to accept limitations simply because they are traditional. These qualities make us difficult allies at times, but they also drive us to find solutions where others see only obstacles." Maya touched the emblem at her collar. "This recognition means a great deal to Earth, but know that invitation or not, we will always appear when needed. It's simply who we are." Varrock's scales rippled with amusement. "A trait the Confederation may find alternately frustrating and invaluable. I suspect, nevertheless, we formally welcome Earth's contribution to our collective future." As the assembly concluded, and delegates prepared to return to their worlds, Ambassador Thalex approached Maya. "Commander, I owe you and Dr. Patel my life, as do countless others across the galaxy. Viridian would be honored to sponsor Earth's petition for full membership when the time comes." "Thank you, Ambassador. Your support has been invaluable throughout this crisis." Thalex leaned closer, lowering his voice. "There is something you should know. The investigation into the origins of the pathogen has uncovered disturbing information. The Separatists had assistance, technological expertise beyond their capabilities." Maya's expression darkened. "From whom?" "That remains unclear, but there are whispers of an entity operating beyond the Confederation's borders, perhaps even beyond our galaxy. An intelligence that views our cooperation as a threat." "Why tell me this?" Thalex's tongue flicked nervously. "Because Earth's perspective may be crucial in what comes next. Your species sees patterns others miss, takes risks others avoid. The Confederation needs that perspective now more than ever." Later, aboard the Earth vessel preparing to depart Sigma-9, Maya shared this information with Rami and her senior staff. "So we're officially recognized, just in time for a mysterious new threat," Rami observed, rubbing his beard thoughtfully. "Timing has never been our strong suit." "On the contrary," Maya replied, settling into the captain's chair as the ship prepared for departure. "I'd say our timing is impeccable. The Confederation needs Earth's particular brand of problem-solving." "You mean our talent for showing up uninvited and making a scene?" asked Lieutenant Jackson, the pilot, with a grin. "Exactly that." Maya's expression turned serious. "Set course for Earth. We need to brief the Alliance Council and begin preparations." "For what exactly?" Rami asked. Maya gazed at the starfield visible through the view screen, her expression determined. "For whatever comes next, because invitation or not, Earth will be there." As the ship accelerated away from Sigma-9, The quantum invitation card on Maya's desk shimmered briefly before dissolving into its component particles. Its purpose served. But Maya knew the real invitation had nothing to do with the card. It was written in humanity's relentless drive to connect, to help, to belong among the stars. And that invitation could never be revoked. In the months that followed, Earth's integration into Confederation affairs progressed with surprising smoothness. The observer status granted special dispensation for human representatives to attend most council sessions and contribute to discussions, if not vote on formal measures. Dr. Patel established a permanent research exchange program, allowing scientists from Earth and Confederation worlds to collaborate on projects ranging from medicine to environmental restoration. Maya found herself increasingly in demand as an unofficial ambassador, shuttling between Earth and various Confederation worlds to facilitate cooperation. The recognition brought opportunities and challenges that kept her diplomatic skills honed to a razor's edge. 1 year after the stellar necrosis crisis, Maya stood on a viewing platform overlooking Earth's first official Confederation embassy, a gleaming structure of crystalline materials and living architecture that adapted to environmental conditions. Beside her stood High Consul Varric, making his first official visit to the planet that had forced its way into galactic politics. "Impressive," he acknowledged, his scales shifting through pleased shades of blue-green as he observed the bustling activity below. Human diplomats mingled with representatives from 30 different worlds, their conversations facilitated by advanced translator fields. "Your people have embraced Confederation protocols with unexpected enthusiasm." Maya smiled. "We're quick studies when motivated, though I suspect our interpretation of some protocols might raise eyebrows in the more traditional quarters." "Indeed. I've received no fewer than 17 formal inquiries regarding Earth's modifications to standard diplomatic procedures." Varric's tone held more amusement than censure. "Your suggestion that junior diplomats should actually experience the environments of worlds they represent, rather than relying on simulations, has been particularly controversial." "Experiencing is understanding," Maya replied. "It's one thing to read about Arcturian crystal forests or Nephalian mercury seas, quite another to stand among them, feeling their reality." They walked along the platform, passing observation areas where Earth citizens could watch the diplomatic proceedings. Unlike most Confederation facilities, which remained closed to the general public, Earth had insisted on transparency, allowing people to witness the new galactic relationships forming in real time. "Your approach has merit," Varric admitted. "Several younger members of my staff have requested permission to adopt similar experiential training. I find myself inclined to approve, despite tradition." "The highest compliment," Maya said with a slight bow. Their conversation was interrupted by an urgent signal from Maya's communicator. She frowned as she checked the message. "Something requires your attention, Commander," Varric inquired. "Possibly nothing," she replied, though her expression suggested otherwise. "One of our deep space monitoring stations has detected unusual energy signatures at the edge of charted space, similar to readings we observed before the necrosis outbreak, but with significant variations." Varric's scales darkened slightly. "The Confederation has received no such reports from our border outposts. Our stations are positioned differently and programmed to look for specific patterns based on our experience last year." Maya hesitated before adding, "We maintained our independent monitoring network even after joining Confederation information channels." Rather than appearing offended, Varric nodded thoughtfully. "A wise precaution. Redundancy in critical systems is prudent governance." Maya felt a surge of appreciation for how far their relationship had evolved. A year ago, such an admission would have been seen as evidence of Earth's unwillingness to fully integrate. Now, it was recognized as a valuable complement to existing structures. "I should review the data personally," she said. "Would you excuse me for a moment, High Consul?" "In fact, I would prefer to accompany you, if appropriate. He surprised her by saying, "These readings may have significance beyond Earth's concerns." Together, they moved to a secure communications center embedded within the embassy complex. Maya's authorization granted them access to a private viewing room, where she called up the sensor data. Complex energy patterns cascaded across holographic displays, shifting and pulsing in ways that suggested deliberate modulation rather than natural phenomena. Maya manipulated the display, highlighting certain sequences and overlaying comparative analyses. These patterns share a mathematical base structure with the signals detected before the pathogen appeared, she explained, but with significant elaborations, almost as if the source is evolving its communication methods. Varric finished, his scientific training evident in his quick grasp of the implications. Or responding to our detection of previous signals. Exactly. Maya expanded a particular sequence. And there's something else. These new signals contain embedded data packets, heavily encrypted, but definitely artificial. Whatever's generating these emissions isn't just creating energy patterns. It's communicating. Varric's scales had taken on the deep indigo of intense concentration. With whom? That's the concerning part. Maya brought up a galactic map showing signal dispersion. The broadcasts are directed toward multiple points within Confederation space, including several that experienced early outbreaks of stellar necrosis. The implications hung between them, unspoken but clear. If the disease had been a weapon, and these signals were connected to its origins, then the threat Ambassador Thal-X had warned about was real and active. Varric straightened, his bearing formal once more. Commander Lin, I believe this information warrants immediate attention from the highest levels of both our governments. Would Earth be willing to share this data with Confederation intelligence? Already preparing the transfer, Maya confirmed. But sharing information is only the first step. We need a coordinated response, investigation teams, enhanced monitoring, possibly even preventative quarantine measures for the targeted regions, all of which require Confederation Council approval through proper channels. Varric noted, a hint of the old bureaucratic caution returning to his voice. Maya felt a familiar frustration rising. Some things hadn't changed after all. High Consul, with respect, if we wait for committee reviews and council votes, we may lose critical time. Whatever sent these signals has already demonstrated the capacity and willingness to cause mass casualties. Varric was silent for a long moment, his scales cycling through colors that reflected internal conflict. Finally, they settled on a determined orange. Perhaps there is a middle path, he said carefully. As High Consul, I have emergency authority to commission an exploratory mission without full council approval, provided it is classified as information gathering rather than intervention. Maya's eyes widened slightly. That would be most helpful. I would, of course, need to appoint a qualified Confederation representative to lead such a mission. A subtle change in his tone suggested he was choosing his words with diplomatic precision. It would be appropriate if this representative had experience with the previous crisis and understood the potential threat matrix. Someone like Ambassador Thal-X, Maya suggested. A reasonable choice, and naturally, as this situation was identified by Earth sensors, your government would want to assign a liaison officer with appropriate clearance and experience. Maya felt the beginning of a smile. I might know someone suitable. I imagined you might. Varric's scales rippled with what she had come to recognize as his version of amusement. It seems Earth's tendency to appear where needed may once again prove fortunate. 2 weeks later, a joint Earth-Confederation vessel departed from Jupiter's orbital shipyard. Officially designated as a scientific research mission, the ship carried an elite team of specialists, including Ambassador Thal-X as formal mission commander, and Maya as Earth liaison. Dr. Patel had insisted on joining as well, arguing that biological weapons would require a medical countermeasure specialist on site. As the ship accelerated toward the coordinates, where the mysterious signals had originated, Maya stood on the bridge, watching stars streak past the viewports. Beside her, Thalex reviewed mission parameters on a holographic display. An unconventional arrangement, the ambassador observed quietly. A Viridian commanding a ship of mixed crew, investigating a threat without official acknowledgement of its existence. Sometimes the unconventional is necessary, Maya replied. Earth learned that lesson long ago. As the Confederation is learning now, thanks to your influence. Thalex's expression became more serious. You should know that not all welcome this change. There are factions within the Council who view Earth's methods as dangerous, a threat to order and tradition. There are always those who fear change, Maya acknowledged. We don't expect to be universally welcomed, just given the chance to contribute. And contribute you have. Thalex gestured toward a nearby console, where Rami worked alongside scientists from 3 different worlds. Their collaboration seamless, despite their physiological differences. This integration would have been unthinkable 2 years ago. Maya nodded, but her attention had already shifted to the mission ahead. Whatever awaited them at the edge of known space, she was certain of one thing. Earth would face it alongside new allies, invited or not. The sensors had detected something beyond conventional understanding, an entity or civilization operating by rules unknown to the Confederation. And if history was any indication, Earth's particular brand of disruptive innovation would be essential to meeting this challenge. As the ship prepared for its final jump to the coordinates, Maya thought of the quantum invitation that had dissolved after serving its purpose. Some invitations were formalities, easily granted and just as easily rescinded. But Earth's true invitation, to participate in the grand adventure of galactic civilization, had never depended on official recognition. It had been written in humanity's DNA from the beginning. The drive to explore, to connect, to help, to show up, whether welcomed or not, wherever they were needed. And as the stars blurred around them, carrying the ship toward unknown dangers, Maya was certain that this inherent human quality would prove more valuable than any formal protocol or ancient tradition. Because when the universe faced its darkest challenges, what mattered wasn't who had been invited to the table. What mattered was who showed up ready to help.